Jay Thomas Show continues. Show. Coming up on 7 minutes after 3 o'clock on Halloween.
Empty pockets never stop me from my singing a blue streak. No.
How about a little David Lee Roth on your Friday?
I don't think the devil's ever gonna get me back. I don't think so. Staying around here takes patience. That's like a full-time occupation. I've become a diplomat.
293-9000 toll free 1-888-970-9329. My email talk at WDAY.com. Don't forget you can follow me on Facebook. Jay Thomas, you want the one in West Fargo. Hey, a couple quick things here before we jump back on the phones. You're looking for something to do tonight. My buddy Dave Jacobs, of course, he's over there doing he does the morning show, the rock and roll morning show with Robbie and Moose. Dave, for years, he just loves doing the spooktacular thing. And he and Marge, his wife, have a place out in Leonard, North Dakota. And he has the crypt at Jacobs Manor. Have you ever seen this thing, Kyle?
I've been out to Leonard for a scary walkthrough of a school and bus ride.
He built this. He's been building this for years, and it's like his hobby. He just keeps adding to it and redoing it. And it's a haunted, more than a haunted house. It's haunted buildings. It goes inside, outside. It's absolutely phenomenal. And it opened up this year on October 17th, and it ends tonight. And you can go check out the crypt at Jacobs Manor from 7 to 11 tonight. Now, for their first hour, it'll be the low scare for the youngsters, or the people like me. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, well, you know, it all busts loose out at the crypt. 307 Railroad Avenue North in Leonard, North Dakota. For more details, you can find him on Facebook. But here's the cool thing, and this is Dave's a friend, but he does this. The admission is free with any non-perishable item for the food bank. That's what he charges to go to the crypt. Now, I believe tonight he's waiving that because it's cold, and don't worry about it tonight for Halloween. Just go out there. But that's what Dave does. He doesn't charge just, hey, if you got a non-perishable food item, bring it and you come hang out. If you want to check out the crypt, you can go to the crypt at Jacobs Manor on Facebook, and you kind of see what Dave's got out there. It's phenomenal what he has done out there. Definitely go check it out. Okay, before I no, you know what? We're gonna hold off. You callers, you're just gonna have to hang on a second here. All right, I want to bring on to the program. You might know him from the movies. I don't know, Speed 2, The Lost Boys. My favorite is Narc. I have it. I love it. It's a great movie. Jason Patric, Ray Liotta in it. Jason Patric joins us on the Jay Thomas Show. Jason, welcome to the Jay Thomas Show.
Hey, thanks. Good to hear.
Hey, thanks for giving us some time this afternoon. We're bringing Jason on, and of course, we're talking shared parenting, and Jason's got some experiences to share with you. Also, he has an organization called Stand Up for Gus, and also joining us on the program is Michael McCormick. Michael, how you doing? Welcome to the Jay Thomas Show. He is the executive director for the American Coalition for Fathers and Children. Michael, welcome to the Jay Thomas Show.
Hey, Jay, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks for giving us time this afternoon. Hey, Jason, before we get into it, buddy, I see you and I both born in 1966. You were born June 17th?
That's right.
Yeah, I got you by 2 days, brother. I was born June 15th.
I'm 48 years old, but everybody says I look 47.
Yeah, I'm 48. Everybody says I look 57. So, well, there you go. You know what I'm saying, man?
There you have it.
Jason, tell us how you got involved in shared parenting.
Well, I had it's still in the midst of a terrible custody sort of battle that started. My ex and I weren't married, and we availed ourselves of IVF, and we had a child. And after 2.5 years, they decided to split. She comes from a great deal of money, her family, and they found a loophole in the law, a 40-year-old law, that says if you're unmarried and the man gives his sperm to a doctor, if there's not a writing involved saying that he intends to parent that child, he is a sperm donor. So after raising my child for 2.5 years, she accused me of being a sperm donor. I went to trial, and the judge upheld that. So as of today, I have not seen my child for 87 weeks.
Holy cow, man. Tell us a little bit, Jason, about Stand Up for Gus.
Well, I started the organization because as I looked in this case as an extreme case of abusing the legal system with a lot of money to remove a child. And this is happening all over the country in smaller ways. And this idea of taking a child away and parental alienation, turning a child against the other parent. So when I met people that were dealing with this and dealing with having to fight for shared parenting, I thought it's time to bring national awareness to this abuse of parental alienation and this inalienable right for the child to have two parents. And so I started Stand Up for Gus, and it's now the largest foundation and website for that shared parenting and parental alienation in the country. And it's getting bigger and bigger, and when I get my son back, I expect it to explode even further.
Jason, you must, because I know on this program, Measure 6, and that is the shared parenting initiative here in North Dakota, and we're going to go vote on Tuesday. For it, or either it's going to pass or it's not here in North Dakota. I mean, the stories that I have heard from my listeners, the emails that I have received are just unbelievable. And I was fortunate where I didn't have these custody issues with my boys when they're all grown up now and on their own. But I never had to deal with this, and I hear the stories, and I will get the occasional email or a voice message once in a while. I'll call on a program, say, well, Jay, those are just, it's the squeaky wheel. They're just the vocal ones out there. This problem isn't as bad as people are making it out to be. Jason, what do you say to that?
I'd say it's if not one of the largest problems in the entire country. We're talking in a lot of ways about a fatherless nation. We're talking about children that are struggling in single parent homes. And we have a system that this is the last bit of inequality. We're not allowed to discriminate against anyone in this country. It happens, of course, but you're not allowed to discriminate against ethnicities, against gender, sexual preference. The one last thing that people have to seem to fight for, to have an equal right, is to have shared parenting of a child. And it really is about the child. I mean, if you go to Stand Up for Gus, we are the voice of the child. They don't have anything to talk about. It's something like, I think the latest stat I read is something like 700,000 children a year are dealing with not having a parent and having been turned against another parent. It's a massive number. It's more than the amount of kids with HIV, kids with cancer, kids dying in car accidents, combined, multiplied by 40. So this is the kind of issue that this is. And the idea of shared parenting should be the baseline presumption. One shouldn't have to fight to share your child. That should be a given. If you get some bartender pregnant 10 months later here in California, you are 50% responsible financially for that child, whether you ever see that woman again. Why are you not given that 50% custody at the same exact moment when that child is born? If you deserve more, go to court for that. If you deserve less, go to court for that. But that must be the equal baseline presumption.
Jason Patric, actor, producer on the Jay Thomas Show. You know him from the movies The Lost Boys, also Speed 2, Narc, many other credits to his name. And he has an organization called Stand Up for Gus. And Jason Patric is going through, he's dealing with a situation with his child and is backing shared parenting. Jason, why will the mother of your child not let you see your child? I don't get that.
It's beyond thought, and in this case, it's really just is a scorned parent, and then convincing herself of all these other issues. It's stunning to me. I really can't say. Luckily, I was able to fight after I lost the first trial. I appealed, and against great odds, I won my appeal. And what the appeal did is allow me to go into court, and I have to prove that I had a familial relationship. I held my son out. I brought him in as my own. And I did that in September. It's been 7 weeks since the trial finished. I'm waiting for my verdict. So I share the pain with so many out there who not have only gone through this, but don't have the means to go through it. It's devastating emotionally and financially. But I can't answer that question. I can't answer why Danielle Schreiber, my ex, would take away her son's father. I cannot answer why parents all over this country take away a mother or a father, especially when we're trying to chase down parents, and you have a loving parent that wants to be there with a child. It's unconscionable, but it is something that must be brought into the national dialogue now. And you guys over there are doing an amazing thing with this measure. this measure passes, I'm telling you, the rest of the country is going to follow through, and we're going to have a historic change in this country.
Jason Patric, actor, producer of the Jay Thomas Show. Jason, I mean, you're out there. I mean, you're world famous. You're all over the country, the world. You say that if this passes in North Dakota, all eyes are on North Dakota?
Absolutely. I live in New York, I live in California. We're talking, big bears of the states, where the country looks at. This is a chance for North Dakota to really wake up the country with a big bell. This will be precedent. This is something that other lawmakers are going to use, and trust me, being in California, New York, I will be up in Sacramento after this passes in North Dakota and say, look what these brave people did. Look what these people did and said what family means. Look, it's a new millennium. Our definitions of the nuclear family, those are done. They're blown to smithereens. There are two parents. There are same-sex parents. There are three parents. Availing themselves of all this kind of technology to have children. You have children because you want to love. Well, you better be able to love that child. And North Dakota is now taking a stand saying, this is what this child deserves. And that's absolutely amazing. I hope you people realize there how historic this moment is going to be for everyone Tuesday.
All right. When we come back, we'll get to the phones. Jason, will you take some phone calls?
Absolutely.
Also, we'll bring in Michael McCormick as well. Michael, again, another guest that we have on with us this afternoon. Michael is the executive director for the American Coalition for Fathers and Children. I got a lot of emails coming in. I got callers lined up that want to talk to you. Jason, before I go to a break, I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to sound kind of personal, but the reason I'm asking it, Jason, is so that people can get a sense what kind of money is being spent, just so you can see a child that you should be allowed to see. Jason, how much have you spent fighting to see your boy?
Everything I have, all done. Let me just put it this way: my ex's side, which is all hedge funds and this and that, have spent over $3 million to remove a child.
$3 million to take a child away from you.
That's right.
When we come back, your phone calls and more. Jason Patric, actor, producer on the Jay Thomas Show. Also, Michael McCormick's going to join us. Callers, hang on. I'm going to grab you 19 minutes after 3 o'clock. This is the Jay Thomas Show. 324 Jay Thomas Show. 293-9000. Toll free, 888-970-9329. Email talk, WDAY.com.
Getting born in the state of Mississippi. Papa was a copper and the mama was a hippie.
Measure 6.
In Alabama, she was swinging a hammer. Price you gotta pay when you break the panorama.
Shared parenting, North Dakota. You'll decide on Tuesday. Actor, producer Jason Patric joining us on the program this afternoon. He is dealing with a situation with his child and is a huge backer of shared parenting. Says all eyes are on North Dakota. Jason, you may know him from some of his movies, including The Lost Boys, Speed 2, Cruise Control. Also one of my favorites, Narc, and the list goes on and on and on. Also joining us on the program this afternoon, he is the executive director for the American Coalition for Fathers and Children, Michael McCormick. Michael, welcome to the Jay Thomas Show.
Thank you.
Michael, how important is shared parenting? How important is it that the state of North Dakota passed this?
Well, I think it's just absolutely critical, Jay. North Dakota has, as Jason pointed out, the opportunity to lead the way here, and I'm really kind of disturbed about some of what I've been hearing on the other side of this in terms of just flat out misrepresentations and falsehoods with respect to what this measure would do. For instance, I just heard a commercial actually on your network there that said this is puts the focus on parents, not on children. This ought to be about the best interest of children. And what the opposition to this is not telling you is that the Supreme Court has already said that the natural bonds of affection lead parents to act in the best interest of their children. The Supreme Court already recognizes that parents have the best interest of their children at heart, and what we keep hearing about is let's decide things on the basis of the best interest of the children. What's happening in North Dakota is that your attorneys, your family law attorneys there, are actually using the best interest of the child to pit parents against each other to compete to remain in their child's life. And if the law and they were following the law and the statutes of and the case law of the Supreme Court, they would recognize that parents are already presumed fit in the law, and fit parents are already presumed to act in the best interest of their children. We need to stop this contest, and Measure 6 will do that.
Let me grab some emails here. Then I got full phone lines and callers. Hang on, I will get to you. Jay, I'd like to ask Jason and Michael, it's my understanding there are 110 world experts who have endorsed shared parenting, including studied doctors in early child development, divorce research, forensic psychology, psychiatric sociology, counseling, and social work. Why would anyone even consider listening to the divorce lawyers who oppose Measure 6 rather than these studied professionals? Could you ask the gentleman to answer that?
You want to go, Mike, or you want me to do it?
You know what? Go ahead, Jason, and I'll just chime in if there's something else to add to that. But I think that statement speaks for itself.
It is no different than this country's absolute disgust with what goes on in Congress. There's a reason why no one believes in government, and there's a reason why in presidential elections we have less than 45% show up at the polls. Because it's all big business and lobbyists. The opposition to Measure 6 is filled with lawyers. Imagine if the presumption is 50-50. Do you know how much that unclogs the courts? Then you only have to go to court if you want more or you want less. They lose unbelievable amount of business, and that's all they care about. They're in cahoots with each other. They want the parents arguing with each other. They love that it's a backlog system. They charge by the hour. They could care less about any of the children. The experts that you talked about, and it's important you said international, because we're not just talking about people with any kind of skew. We're talking around the world have finally done major studies, a lot of them having to do what's important with the father, because for so long we've heard that the father doesn't really matter for the first 18 months of a child's life. And now there's incredible studies that have been done that just so not only is not that not the case, but there's empirical evidence as to the importance of what that does to for the child. So that's why I go back to this is such an historic moment. And the people, look, no one likes lawyers. Let's face facts. So the people that are going North Dakota to, put their ballots down, even if you don't have a child, think you're going to take a lawyer out with it.
Another email comes in. Jay, you asked, why do parents keep kids from loving parents? Money. The system is clogged with money. Children are legally kidnapped. I deal with both mothers and fathers who are on the verge of suicide every week because family court rulings strip them of their constitutionally protected rights to be a parent. All right, it's 29 minutes after 3 o'clock, and I promise, callers, you've been waiting. Mitchell, you will come up first, followed by Dean. Charlie, you're on the way. I have Jason M., and I believe Jason is Jason McLean, who has been on this show. As a matter of fact, he was on the show yesterday. We're going to get to these calls. If you can't get through, keep trying. We'll get some lines open up. I got more emails to get to. My guest, Jason Patric, actor and producer, also joining me on the program, is the founder. Also, by the way, Jason Patric is the founder of Stand Up for Gus. And Michael McCormick, the executive director of American Coalition for Fathers and Children. More with my guests when we come back. I promise we'll get on these phone lines and take your phone calls at 293-9000, toll free, 1-888-970-9329. You can email me, talk at WDAY.com. 3:30, that is WDAY News Time. Eric John. Jay Thomas Show, 338. Every time I hear this Tool song, for some reason, I think of one of the greatest guitar players, Steve Stein. I don't know why. And we have Steve coming to the studio every once in a while. And he hangs out, brings in the guitar and the amps, and he just tears it apart, takes your requests. We'll have to do that again. It's been a while. We'll bring him in around Christmas time. We'll have him rip some holiday classics on his Ebenezer or whatever that guitar is. What the hell is kind of a guitar? All right, 293-9000, 888-970-9329. Email talk, WDAY.com. Jay Thomas Show. Actor, producer Jason Patric hanging out with us this afternoon. Jason going through quite a battle with his child, not with his child, but the child's mother. And Jason, a huge advocate for shared parenting, saying, hey, look, Jay, all eyes are on North Dakota when it comes to Measure 6 and the shared parenting. And Jason, you know him from the movies Speed 2, Narc, The Lost Boys. And your favorite is what you like Sleepers.
Sleepers, yeah.
Sleepers is a great one, too.
Fantastic.
Also joining us, Michael McCormick. He is the executive director for American Coalition for Fathers and Children. All right, gentlemen, let me grab some phone calls here. We've had callers that have been waiting for quite a while. And what I ask callers, because so many people want to get on, I don't want you to get on and open up the book and start preaching to me. I get that. If you have a question or comment, try to make it quick so we can get through this. Let's see. Mitchell, you're up first on the Jay Thomas Show.
Hi, Jay.
Hey, Mitchell.
Just real quick, I'd like to thank Jason for what he's doing there with Stand Up for Gus. And we're hoping that the people in North Dakota here will pass this so it can help people like you. Stand Up for Gus was a great uplifting thing for us to see that's going on out there along with Divorce Corp. And I just hope the people in North Dakota can see through what the attorneys are doing here and that 110 world experts, we would hope with Trump, a bunch of attorneys that want to keep their pockets fat.
All right, Mitch, appreciate the phone call. That opens up one line at 293-9000. Jason, a lot of people come up and ask you about shared parenting?
They do now. It's one of those things I've always, as you know, I've always been pretty private in my life, certainly professionally, but I've been forced into this position. And they needed a leader, so I've, exposed myself, and in that process, people have been given a voice. And so, yeah, people do come up, and they have just heart-wrenching tales. It's something that can simply be taken care of.
I was surprised when you were honest, because you're right. You are somebody that we don't read about you in the tabloids. We don't see we don't see any of that. You're a very private person, and for you to come out of your private shell, and that's a good thing. It says something that really means something to you, and you're backing it big time, because you're opening yourself up, because that opens up your private life with what you and your child are going through.
Yes, and it first started that I wanted to leave. There was a very good chance with this corrupt court system that after losing the first time, that I could not see my child again. So I wanted to leave a path. I wanted to leave a viral path of me fighting for my child. And there's so many people who can't do that, who are completely shut out. And I think by bringing this to the national parlance and making it a major issue, so many people have thought, "Oh my God, it's not just me. Oh, is that what it's called when my son doesn't get his Christmas card? Oh, it's called parental alienation. Oh, it's actually a form of child abuse. Oh, there's actually people that want to make it so that I can have shared parenting with the child that I raised, with the child that I begat." It's so important. So yeah, I mean, people come up to me more now for that than they do for movies or anything like that.
Email Jason Patric. Jay hit it out of the park, and if there are any fence sitters, he should have just tipped them over. Let's see, Jill, you're next on the Jay Thomas Show.
Hi.
Hey, Jill.
I would like to say thank you from the supporters of North Dakota Shared Parenting for bringing awareness. I do want to encourage voters to get out and vote. Every vote is going to make a difference, so get out and do the right thing. Vote yes.
Joe, appreciate the phone call. All right, let's bring on Jay, and I'm pretty sure I know who this is. This ought to get a little interesting. Jason McLean, welcome to the Jay. Jason, is it you?
It is me, Jay. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for the patience, Jason. I want to get through some calls, because I got a feeling once you and Michael start corresponding, it's going to go on for a while. Jason McLean, of course, attorney. He's been on the program a few times now, and he is against Measure 6. Jason, I'll let you take it from there, because I'm quite sure you got a lot you want to say.
Well, first off, Mr. Patrick, just want to let you know a couple of things. Nobody, myself included, and I don't think any attorney that I know of in this state, would condone a parent not seeing a child for as long as you said you haven't seen your child. I know you mentioned your situation is unique, and it is unique. I've actually looked into it a little bit, and your situation wouldn't happen here in North Dakota. We have a very different law when it comes to the way things are handled. Parents have rights automatically at the time that a child is born, and once they sign and or are presumed to be the parent in cases of marriage or other ways, those rights are automatically set up as equal. In fact, our law says that parents are presumed to neither one of them be better off than the other, providing for the best interest of the child. I said it yesterday on Jay's show. I'm going to say it again today. So this idea that there's a presumption against it in North Dakota is just blatantly false. However, what I want to ask you guys is this. One of the things that you said talked about attorneys, and nobody likes attorneys, and I'm sure I believe it's Silverman is your attorney, would probably be a little bit, or Silverberg would probably be a little bit confused about that. But
his name is Fred Silverberg, and actually he wasn't. He actually says we have a bad reputation, family law attorneys, and it's justly earned.
Well,
because they're taking advantage of people in the most vulnerable emotional and financial situations in their life.
Let me ask you this, Jason, Mr. Patrick. Right now, one of the attacks that's been coming to these people that are the Keeping Kids First and the people that want to vote no is that we're funded by the Bar Association, that all the money comes from attorneys. Now, I've done a little digging of my own on the North Dakota Parents for Shared, the North Dakota Shared Parents people. They have like 4 different names now behind this. Ms. Bierke, who was just on the line, Mitch Sanderson, who was just on the line before that. They have a total of about $31,000 worth of donations that they've reported. Now, none of those donations talk about television ads. None of them go with any of the stuff that your group is attached to that's been running in North Dakota on television stations. I want to know from you, has Stand Up for Gus been putting money into the coffers of the people behind Vote Yes on Measure 6? Yes or no?
Into their coffers?
No, into their funds.
What we supported was people trying to get citizens' signatures that believed in this measure.
Have you provided any money?
Any coffers?
Have you provided any money through your site?
Absolutely.
You have.
And we've supported Measure 6. Absolutely.
Okay. So you provided money through your site. Do you know how much?
I don't know specifically how much.
Would you say it was enough to fund television production?
No, it had nothing to do with television. This was purely to deal with signatures to get this on the ballot.
Okay, so you have nothing. You're not buying any of those ads that have been running on TV.
Buying no ads whatsoever.
And I think I should speak to that a little bit more because I don't think Jason is familiar with that.
And this is this is Michael McCormick, by the way, who's speaking.
Yeah, and I sure do want to address that because what we know is that Keeping Kids First has been 100% funded by the Bar Association. The bar is attempting to protect its interest in a revenue stream that has cost North Dakota families over $160 million over the last 8 years. And
where are you getting your funds from, sir? I know I've never had anything even close to where that would come from.
Let me tell you exactly. I'm happy to answer your questions because I'm just a little bit tired and worn out of the misrepresentations with respect to the effect of this measure in North Dakota. So let me give you an idea. Let's come back to the campaign here because you're asking about that. I'm going to tell you that a whole lot of people have donated their time, have donated their talents because they are tired of seeing their children removed through this adversarial system that is owned and operated by family law attorneys.
Okay, sir, can I?
This is grassroots. What you've got going on here is over 15,000 people in the state of North Dakota said yes, this needs to be in front of the citizens to vote on. In 2006, over 91,000 people in the state of North Dakota said yes, we think this change ought to happen. And God willing, next Tuesday, there are going to be more than 120,000 people that step out and say, yeah, we've had enough. We're tired of our kids having their money taken from them. So I'm going to tell you, the vast majority of the effort that you see having gone into what's going on in North Dakota has actually come as a result of volunteers contributing their time, talents, and efforts.
Okay,
in the face of the family law system in the
Now, Michael, I want to be clear on what you're saying. You're saying that people that produce these ads donated their time as a contribution. Is that correct?
It's not a financial contribution.
Doesn't matter. Under North Dakota law, that's a gift that needs to be disclosed.
You're looking for a dollar value. Look at the disclosure statements.
We have
the amount of money that's the amount of money that we've actually had raised to be able to do this.
So you're expecting the North Dakota public to believe, first off.
Excuse me?
You're expecting the people in North Dakota to believe that they're being inundated with television ads, with Hollywood production values, that they're being inundated with radio ads with people that are probably not even from the state of North Dakota, and that they were able to do this, plus volunteer work, plus signage, plus a billboard, all on $31,000? You think we're that dumb in this state,
This is
sir?
Jason Patrick.
You know what? I don't think you're dumb.
Hold on
I
one
think that
second,
you're
guys.
having to pay full freight because people don't care for what you're doing, and I think there are an awful lot of people who want to see this system changed and are willing to put up to be able to do that. You know, I'll tell you things. There's things that have happened in support of the initiative in North Dakota that we're not even aware of, that are going out. We have heard that people are putting inserts in newspapers that we don't have anything to do with. We're not even aware of it.
Jason Patric, you wanted to jump in.
This is the type of thing that's going on. But what you're doing is you're deflecting here. You know, and I'll tell you what surprises me, that to protect a multi-million-dollar franchise, which is what family law is in the state of North Dakota, I'm surprised that you only spent $70,000, Jason. And frankly, the questions are enormous with respect to the legalities of what you have done.
Well, I can deal with that if you'd like me to, unless you want to have Mr. Patrick talk, Jay, and then I can deal with that.
What I'd like to say, what's amazing to me...
Michael, where attorneys lobby, and they've been slapped for doing it. Go ahead.
Michael, hold on. Let's let Jason Patrick jump in. Or Jason Patrick, go ahead.
What's happening here is the issue is being deflected, and of course it's happening by the opponents of the measure because they know the value of the measure. I don't care what was spent on campaigns. I don't care what was on inserts. It's absurdly laughable when I hear someone saying commercials with Hollywood production values. Let's not talk about that because it has nothing to do with the children.
And this measure does
how? What has to do with the measure because the measure is
this measure have to do with the children when we're saying we're putting parents before them, Mr. Patrick? You don't live here. You don't know the law here.
That's a way for you to deflect from what's really going on. This is a measure that clearly just wants to give both parents who divorce that they're entitled to equal parenting rights and responsibility, unless there's a clear indication to the contrary. And then lawyers like yourself, Mr. McLean, can go and rape them dry like everyone's been doing for the $160 million in your state alone. It would still require the courts to provide a definition of equal parenting time and adjust their decision-makings for whatever specific parent-child relationships and divorce scenarios.
No, that's actually not true, Mr. Patrick, and I'm surprised that you don't know that, considering how much money you probably dumped into this.
I have no problem talking about the issue of shared parenting, whether it's in California, whether it's in North Dakota or anywhere in this country. But I'm not going to waste my time listening to people like you that are deflecting the issue and talking about things so people really don't know what's going on.
Well, Mr. Patrick, with all due respect, and I am saying with all due respect, what you're saying is a load of malarkey. And secondly, if you want to talk about people doing that, you can talk with your friends Jill and Mitch and everybody else that you've been funneling money to about their attack on us and the Bar Association. But let's talk about the initiative.
I don't care about attacks or campaigns.
Whoa.
I care about the issue and children.
Let's talk about the initiative.
Simple. It's very simple, people of North Dakota. If you want the presumption that after a divorce, both parents are equal to rights and responsibilities, and that's important, and the responsibilities, that's what this measure is about.
Let's do that.
If the court finds that one of the parents does not deserve those rights, one of those parents deserves more or less, that's what the courts are for, and then the child will be put in the best case scenario. Those are already in case anyway in the court system.
Gentlemen,
there is the presumption.
Gentlemen, can we hang on? I got to go to news and weather. Jason, Michael, and Jason, can you all hang on?
I'm here all afternoon.
All right, hang on, gentlemen. We'll come back. We'll resume on the other side. You are listening to the Jay Thomas Show. Jason Patrick, Michael McCormick, and Jason McLean. More of the conversation when we come back. Jay Thomas Show. The Thomas Show, 4:06, Minnesota Viking final score coming up before we get out of here this afternoon. Measure 6, North Dakota shared parenting. Actor and producer Jason Patrick. May know him for the movies Narc, Speed 2, The Lost Boys, Sleepers. Lots of awards and nominations. Also joining me this afternoon, he is the Executive Director for the American Coalition for Fathers and Children, Michael McCormick.
All the tension in the world today, all the little girls filling up the world today. With the good comes the bad.
Also joining us on the program, Jason McLean. He is with Jesdahl Law Firm. Jason is against Measure 6, and Michael and Jason Patrick are for Measure 6. Gentlemen, before we get back into it, let me slip a couple calls in here. Annie, you're up on the Jay Thomas Show.
Yes, I'm neither a lawyer nor a supporter, but
Why?
I'm a product of a divorce, and my mother raised us children My father worked full-time. We saw him periodically. But my siblings and I agree we were very happy and glad our mother raised us. We have relatives in California. The kids have they're shared 1 week at Dad's, 1 week at Mom's. And those poor kids are so messed up. They're in their 20s now, and it's not easy.
And appreciate the phone call. What do you, Jason Patric, I'm going to give that one to you. And I know Jason McLean and Michael McCormick probably jump in too. But Jason Patric, what do you say? Because that is the concern for some folks that the shared parenting, you start at the 50-yard line, you work your way out, but it's going to screw these kids up because they're not going to have a stable life because part of the time they're going to be here, part of the time they're going to be there, they're going to be bouncing back and forth, and especially if the parents, are not in close proximity. What do you say to that, Jason?
Well, first of all, from talking to Ann, I can tell that, Ann is from a generation, several generations removed from right now. I'm glad she had a wonderful mother that raised her. When she was a child, which, by the sound of her voice, was a very, very long time ago, the studies and the parental roles were very different than they are today. And her father did have to work all the time. I'm sure her mother didn't work. Today, as you know, the vast majority of mothers and fathers both work. That wasn't the case when Ann was a child. Or also, men have now taken roles that, with their child's life, that are far more demonstrative than when Ann was a child. The studies that were not existent when Ann was a child overwhelmingly, internationally, talk about the benefits of both parents. Also, over 6 out of 10 parents are divorced in this country. Now, that's an incredible majority, much different than when Ann was a child. So the fact is that the majority of people are going to get divorced, and those kids are going to have divorced parents. There's no longer a stigma attached to that. And kids are adaptable, and their classmates are living in 2 different homes, and it's not a week on or a week off. These are all adjustable to what the specific lives are of the parents and the child. So it's really an outrageous claim. I'm glad you have a counter person in there like Ann, because I like that, because it shows how outrageous and outdated this mindset about somehow that a mother or, frankly, a single father is better than a child sharing both parents. It's absurd. That's my answer.
Jason McLean, go ahead.
Well, the fact that we would discount somebody's experience growing up and what they see with their children now, who are a part of this generation from what it sounded like, just speaks to the short-sightedness of many of the people with this measure. It's about them. It's not about their kids. And
all about
one of the
kids.
things that...
Nothing but the kids. The kids do not have a voice.
Mr. Patrick, I am going to respectfully ask that you please stop for a second.
I'm not going to let you, Stonewall won't do this. It's not true. The
Jason,
measure is a presumption.
You have no idea what goes on in the state of North Dakota. You have never been to the state of North Dakota that I'm aware of. And if you come here, I'm sure we'll be nice to you, because that's how we are here. But as of right now, please let me talk.
And I'm not going to let you talk if it's not the truth.
Well, if that were the case, then why are you calling in and spewing off the stuff that's nonsense to begin with? Here's the deal.
Any nonsense.
In the state of North Dakota, we have programs that start off so parents do share time equally. We don't have the problems that a lot of other states. I practice in Minnesota. I will tell you right now. In Minnesota, they have a lot of the problems that you speak of. Because in cases where it's not divorce, where it's paternity cases, mothers do start off with a leg up. They don't do that in North Dakota. In North Dakota, we don't have those sort of issues. We have settlement in 90% of our family law cases over the last year.
If your citizens did not believe this was an issue, there would not be a measure. There would not be a measure.
You need to really look in a little bit to who these people are behind this measure, sir.
56%. That means that more than 45% of your state believed there was a problem. And 8 years later, this problem has increased.
Patrick,
so you're being
Mr.
incorrect
Patrick, I will tell you this right now. You're not winning any battles by being rude.
Yeah, let's have one. Let's have
I'm
one.
not here to win a battle with you, McLean. You'll continue making your money for anyone else you can.
That's very, very nice. That's a great way to treat people in the state of North Dakota that you've never been to.
I do not have a voice right now. I don't care about being nice or kind to you.
All right. Let's have one person talk at a time. Otherwise, we are going to get nowhere. Let me grab another caller here. Let's see. Dean, you're next on the Jay Thomas Show.
I have a question for Jason. First, thanks
Which
for
Jason?
coming out in support of shared parenting in North Dakota, but I was going to ask him, you don't hear much about parental alienation lately, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about that and how it'll obviously reduce through shared parenting.
Which Jason is that for?
Okay. Parental alienation is something usually that is done by the custodial parent. The custodial parent who has more time with the child is able to restrict visits, conversation, memories, even something like Christmas cards from the other parent. So parental alienation is something that exists separate from shared parenting, but when there is no shared parenting, you are more susceptible to it because you frankly don't have the time to counteract what one parent is saying about the other to the child. So the baseline of having a shared parenting is all of a sudden going to, at least in a time way, cut down that idea of what a child is being forced to believe about the other parent. When it's a loving parent trying to be involved in that child's life, the child has to feel that love, and so he will be able to understand and make that decision on their own. So parental alienation is a tool, an abusive tool, that's used when there is inequality, and that's all this measure is asking for, equality, so the child gets the best of both parents, the parents that created them or the parents that adopted them, the parents that love them, they can have both. So parental alienation is very important to get out there because I think it's akin to what domestic abuse was 40 years ago when no one talked about it. That was someone else's business. Now it is important. And that's why shared parenting is going to go a long, long way to help eliminate this sort of in-the-closet berating of another loving parent.
Michael, I'm going to let you jump in. You've been kind of quiet for a while if you want to jump in on any of this. And again, gentlemen, I know that this is close to everybody's hearts, but when somebody's speaking, let the other person speak. Whether you like it or not, let them speak, and then you can go at it. I'm all for a good debate, but if people are talking over each other, then the audience is hearing nothing. All right, Michael, go ahead.
Sure. I just want to address a couple of things that I've heard over the last few days that Mr. McClain has brought forward with respect to how well the system is working for the parents and children in the state. And I believe, Mr. McClain, I heard you make the claim the other day that 37% of your cases now in North Dakota are actually joint custody. Was that correct?
30, according to the figures that were provided by the mediation program that they were tracking as part of the program, 37. It was 37 and change, I believe, were deemed that went to settlement. Were settled as joint. Yes, that was the number that would be in there.
Joint custody. Okay, well, yes. This is one of the things that we really want to look at because this does come down to definitions and how the definitions are going to be determined here. And one of the things that we know across the country, and North Dakota is really no different in this regard, is that joint custody doesn't necessarily mean that you have equal or adequate time with your child. And in fact, most people with joint custody today, and over 80% of the cases nationwide where we have the data, most cases of joint custody still result in the parent with joint custody, the non-primary residential parent, having only every other weekend, a couple of weeks in the summer, and sharing of the holidays. Hardly enough to keep that child bonded to both parents. And what I'd like to say here is that we've not seen the data out of North Dakota that would make this conversation irrelevant. And that data would be, if shared parenting is so common in North Dakota, then the data would indicate that. But that data is not forthcoming. It's not produced by the courts. That's one point. I mean, it'd be very.
Can I respond to that real quick, Michael? Though there's something that you're missing with that's a little bit different. Those facts and figures, when you say that may be the case in other parts of the country, that may be the case. I don't know. But what I will tell you is this. Those facts and figures break up the way that these cases are decided specifically. So if primary time is awarded to mother, it's a percentage. Primary time awarded to father, it's a percentage. Joint under that percentage will mean equal time, 50-50 on the stats I gave you. And I mentioned. I had this discussion yesterday with Mr. Fleck off the air when we were in a break because he was asking the same questions you're asking. And the reality of it is what you're describing, while that may occur in other states, it's not the way that they compiled the data here in North Dakota. If it was joint, it is equal time in North Dakota.
Gentlemen, gentlemen, hold on. I got to take a break. I got to try to stay on time here. Let me take a break, and then Michael, I'll let you respond when we come back.
Sure.
More with Jason Patric as well, Jason McClain as well. I know callers are waiting to get on. We're going to have about 10 minutes left, and then we're going to wrap her up. 293-9000. I'm trying to read and talk at the same time here. 293-9000, 888-970-9329. 17 minutes after 4 o'clock. This is the Jay Thomas Show.
Please allow me to adjust my pants so that I may dance the good time dance and put the onlookers and innocent bystanders into a trance.
Jay Thomas Show, 421. little clutch for you on a Halloween.
Give the seas so the swine will marry and propagate lies.
Coming up Monday in the program. Who the hell knows? I don't know.
Spread the wealth, play it cool, the hands been dealt.
Minnesota Vikings final score after 4:30.
Save the victory speeches for later. Streets on fire. The mob goes wild, wild, wild.
All right, joining me on the program is Jason Patric, actor, producer, also Michael McCormick, Executive Director, American Coalition for Fathers and Children, and Jason McLean, lawyer with Jesdell Law Firm. Jason McLean against Measure 6. Both Michael McCormick and Jason Patric are for Measure 6. That is shared parenting, and I should say just Measure 6, shared parenting in general across the country. I know, Jason, you had made the statement earlier that when it comes to shared parenting, all eyes are on North Dakota to see what happens come Tuesday. And if it passes here, Jason, do you see a lot of other states looking at doing the same thing?
I do, because I'm going to be taking North Dakota. I'm going to be happily putting North Dakota on my back and going to first California and then New York to show that this is what this great state has done and has recognized this issue, and the citizens have voted upon it, and it works. I mean, look, they said 6 out of 10 people are going to get divorced. So if you're married now or you're going to get married, 6 out of 10 of you are going to be dealing with this situation if you have children. So the ones who are dealing with it now and their hearts are broken, they understand. They're going to show up Tuesday. But just know, you 18-year-olds and 20-year-olds and all the kids out there, most of you are going to be affected by this. This is very, very important, and it's rare that we get a chance to have, do something that makes a national historic change.
If it doesn't pass, what's the next step, Jason?
That I still then go to Sacramento. I still then go talk to Cuomo in New York and say, this is how close it got, this is how important it is, and I have many, 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 many supporters. And through Stand Up for Gus, the website, we have close to 100,000 people that are now talking about it.
Let's grab some phone calls. And folks, again, I ask you to get to your point as quick as you can, because we are running short on time here. We've got about 6 minutes or so left. Brian, thanks for hanging on. You're up on the Jay Thomas Show.
Hey, Jay, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Brian.
Hey, Mr. Patrick, thank you for coming. Mike, thanks for coming. Mr. McLean, thanks for coming. Mr. McLean, I just wanted to let you know that I myself am from Towner, North Dakota. I am a rancher farmer, and I was the one that funded those commercials. Myself. Not Mr. Patrick, not any fancy corporation, just the red, white, and blue of the Lindstrom Farm.
God bless.
So there you go. There's your answer to your question.
Mr. Lynch, is there a reason that it hasn't been reported?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I produced them, I paid for them myself, and put them on. That's from me. That's not from North Dakota Shared Parenting. That's from me, a guy that doesn't get to see his kids. Right here, Towner, North Dakota, middle of it. That's me.
With the Hollywood production values, according to Mr. McLean.
Well, hey, they're looking pretty good if that's the case.
Well, when people put their heart
if that's the case, if what you're telling me is true, they look good commercials. I will tell you that. I thought they were Hollywood.
Yeah. Nope, that is from me. So I just want to let you know, clear there on that. Mr. Patrick is not responsible for that. That's me.
Brian, appreciate the phone call. I'm going to let you go, Brian, because the connection is really bad. Dean, you're next on the Jay Thomas Show.
Yeah, I'd like to know, if shared parenting passes, how will a judge decide which parent gets to use the children as far as tax deductions go?
All right, this question hasn't been brought up. Jason McLean is a...
right now, I'll tell you that regardless of the parenting plans in place, often what courts will do is they'll look more at incomes of the parents, child support parent, and those sort of things, as opposed to the actual parenting plan. It's treated in a way that's sort of where it usually is divided or alternated from year to year. I can't say that this is going to have an effect on that one way or the other, because in cases where we already have equal time or time that's less than 50-50, the parties will often, or the courts will often, just equally divide that deduction and those deductions moving forward.
All right, Michael or Jason, I think one of you two wanted to jump in on that as well.
Well, I would just like to point out a couple of things here. One of the ways you defeat legislation and defeat these types of initiatives is to introduce the concept of risk and fear and confusion about what's being discussed here. And I think that the idea that everything is going to be 50-50 every time is not the primary point of this particular ballot initiative. What this is doing is it's saying we want parents to be more fully in control of this process, that parents decide what's best for their children. And many of the examples that we've heard over the course of this campaign are what we would like to call running to the extremes. We're taking the worst-case scenarios and saying, well, what would you do in this worst-case scenario? But let's look at what happens in the 90% of cases where you have two parents who love their kids and want to be involved in their lives. Why would one of those parents be relegated to a very marginal position with respect to their children? And let me just add this. Next door, I thought it was interesting, Mr. McLean says the practices in Minnesota as well, and I understand some of the geographical boundaries there. I just triggered the thought in my mind, what are we talking about, maybe an out-of-stater in North Dakota's initiative here. But I want to point this out, that the retired Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the state of Minnesota, right next to you, actually is on record saying that this type of a law needs to be adopted. And I want to say this to the people of North Dakota. You're not a guinea pig here. You're on the leading edge. But let's just let you know, last year in the state of Minnesota, right next door, the House of Representatives passed a baseline parenting law, a baseline bill that said each parent would be entitled to 45.1% of the time with their child, as long as you weren't dealing with issues of abuse, neglect, and abandonment. When it went to the Senate would not agree with that. The compromise language was 35% baseline to both parents, knowing that would reduce the conflict inherent in this process. It was the governor that vetoed that under pressure from the special interests like the Bar Association. In Florida, the year before last, equal parenting time passed by supermajorities in both chambers, in the House and the Senate, went to the governor for signature, and special interest, the lawyers, leaned on the governor, and he vetoed the legislation. And it's very interesting to take a look at this, because 15 years ago, you couldn't even get this legislation as far as the governor. Now it's just one person standing in the way of it, and it's the influence of the special interest. We need to support, and let's accept that what Mr. McLean says. I question whether or not 37% of the kids in North Dakota at this point are having equal time with their parents. I certainly think that would have been data that they would have been pointing to say, hey, the system is working. But here's what we'll look at here. Let's look at this with respect to North Dakota. If you're already moving in this way, then enact this measure, because it will only enhance those outcomes.
All right, gentlemen.
The research is telling us this is what kids want.
Okay, Michael, I've got to cut you off. We've got to roll here, gentlemen. Before I go and I'm out of time, I want to thank everybody for their time tonight. I got a little heated there for a while, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with a good debate and a good argument once in a while. I'm going to give you each like 30 seconds to wax poetically, because I got to roll. Jason, Patrick, I give it to you first. 30 seconds. Whatever you want to say it.
I think this measure right now is one of the most important ever to come in front of you, North Dakotans. You're going to lead the country in this charge about children. It is going to be historic. And don't be scared by what everyone is telling you. This simply gives parents equal rights upon divorce. And if a court finds that one or the other is more fit after that, more or less will be given. Those measures are already in place in your law, in your books, and they will be used as guidelines. This purely gives loving parents the chance to love their children, and all the research suggests that those two parents give the child the best chance in life. So be the proud North Dakotans you are, and change the country.
Jason, Patrick, Stand Up for Gus. Where can people find out more information?
StandUpForGus.com or Stand Up for Gus Facebook. Please come. It's a place for resources, and it's also where we raise money and we help people that are fighting for their children.
Jason Patrick, actor, producer, you're a busy man, and you gave us a lot of time this afternoon. And, hey, thanks for that time, Jason.
You bet. Take care.
All right, Jason McLean, go ahead. 30 seconds, buddy.
All right. Well, I've already said a lot of what I was going to say here in the last few days, thanks to you, Jay. But at the end of the day, this measure doesn't put kids in the position they need to be. It doesn't look at their best interest. It treats everybody as though they're the same. It doesn't look at what's best for children. It only looks at what's best for the parents. And that is not the way we do things in North Dakota. It's never been the way we do things in North Dakota. And to have somebody from out of state come and tell us otherwise, I don't think that's the right thing to do.
Jason McLean, pleasure. Thanks for being part of the discussion and calling in today. Michael McCormick, go ahead, 30 seconds.
Well, I would just say that, 90,000 people in 2006 disagreed that everything was still going real well in the state of North Dakota. And I want to just bring this back to former President Reagan's son, Michael Reagan. He wrote about this. He was a child of divorce, and he said, he used to sit on the curb and wait for his dad. Every 2 weeks. That's an eternity for a kid. And what this measure will do is it will give children the opportunity to retain a full relationship with both of their parents. And I just want to address
quickly. I gotta go quickly, Michael. I gotta go. I gotta go. I'm out of time.
Go ahead and go.
Yep.
Go ahead and go.
Michael McCormick, Executive Director, American Coalition for Fathers and Children. Michael, where can people find more information on your organization?
Well, our organization is at www.acfc.org, Alice Charlie, Frank Charlie.org, but I would direct your listeners to NDSP, the number 4K, NDSP4K.com.
All right, Jason Patric, actor, producer. I would thank you for the time. Jason McLean, Jesdell Law Firm. Thank you for the time. 4:32 weather with John Wheeler. Let's do it.
970 WDAY Storm Tracker weather.
All right, John, I'm going to let you get at it again, buddy.